Hey, this is Rob Anspach, and welcome to another edition of E-Heroes. For those keeping count, this is episode 337, and I brought the White Wizard to this episode. Jonathan Mast is going to join us. He is he has a company called White Bearded Strategies, and if you're watching this on video, you can see his flowing beard. If you're listening to it on audio, just trust me, he's got the whole Santa Claus look, and it's going to be glorious what we're going to talk about. So, Jonathan, thank you for being here. And one of the things that struck me on your website is, I think it's on your website, maybe it's on your Facebook. Yeah, it's your Facebook banner. Don't think outside of the box. Think like there is no box. And I
Yes.
like that because the fact is everybody is trying to struggle or compete against everybody else, and they think that they need to do all kinds of things. And that requires you to be in a box in order to
hmm
fight, get out. And to me, I never subscribe to that. For me, I have no competition. There is nobody that does what I do in the manner that I do it. But that brings up another logical and strategic point. AI. AI can think like me. AI can do what I do, sort of in a manner that is compatible with my thinking. But with AI, you have to train it to think and do and act and speak and write and do all the other things that you want it to do. So
Yes,
for those
absolutely.
for those paying attention, and I know a lot of times you are bombarded with AI this, AI that, and some of you are confused. And I have brought on experts before to talk about AI, but none are like Jonathan. So, Jonathan, I want to thank you for being here, and let's just jump right in.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So, off air, we talked about AI just a little bit. And, my favorite AI is ChatGPT. It's
hmm
basically the original. And for me, I have it trained to know who I am, what I do, how I do it. But there are so many other AIs out there. Grok
hmm
from Twitter or X, or whatever you want to call it nowadays. And, I tried Grok the other day. Seems faster, seems to know who I am. It's just, I did a test and I had ChatGPT write something and I had Grok write something. And although Grok was faster, it didn't write like me. It didn't understand my sarcasm. And,
hmm
um, and I think that's what a lot of people are missing is the time it takes to train a particular AI model.
No, I couldn't agree more. In fact, I think, Rob, a lot of people just miss the whole point itself that we need to train it and don't even really understand what that involves. And the good news is it's not hard.
Yeah.
But it is definitely one of the areas where ChatGPT, in my mind, really excels because it makes it very easy to do through their custom instructions, through their memory features, through their custom GPTs. Lots of things that even other good models, Claude is a good model, Grok is a good model. There's many good models out there. But as we talked pre-session here, to me, I think the mistake so many people do, and I understand, especially in the entrepreneurial and business world, we all get that bright, shiny object syndrome, and we go, "Oh, there's a new tool. We want to try that." At the end of the day, AI is about amplifying our skill and experience. It's about helping us save time and deliver more value. And
Mhm.
we can do that a lot better when we become an expert at using one tool as opposed to a jack of all trades using seven.
Yeah. Yeah. I just I was on LinkedIn yesterday and one person was posting, I can tell if it's AI. Can you really? Let's test this theory. And I created
Yes.
something and I posted it on there. I said, is this me or AI? And they're like, um,
Yes.
they couldn't tell because the way I have my model trained, you know. And I think if you do it right, nobody can tell. But there are skeptics out there. They think they know everything.
Oh, without a doubt. Absolutely. No matter what we're talking about.
Hmm. Yeah. So how did you get started in all this?
Well, great question. I appreciate you asking. So, I think like all of us, I've been using AI for a long time without necessarily realizing it. I mean, I can think back to goodness, almost 30 years ago when I would rent a Hertz car and it had GPS enabled in it. And when GPS was just coming out, that was a form of artificial intelligence because it was routing me based upon all kinds of different variables to where I needed to go. So I think a lot of us have been using it for a long time without realizing it. We've had spell check. We've had things like Grammarly to check our grammar. Those are all, again, forms of AI. But in 2022, when ChatGPT decided to put an interface on top of ChatGPT and make that something that was readily available, I admittedly stood up, whatever, and said, wow, this is pretty cool,
Yeah.
especially knowing who I am. So I am one of those ADD entrepreneurs. I got diagnosed when I was 43. And one of the things I've learned from that, Rob, is it gives me the ability to hyper focus. In other words, I can get a lot done in a very short period of time. But if I fall off that wave, so to speak, it's almost like surfing a wave. If I fall off the wave, I'm done. I mean, I could be done for 5 minutes, I could be done for 5 hours. It just depends. AI allowed me to very quickly get more done in less time. And so I was able to just candidly extend those periods of hyperfocus. If I fall off the wave, I still fall off the wave, but it's helped me tremendously in that. And one of the things that I really found, and this is not something we talked about, Rob, but is that I found exciting. I'm 55, and normally when new technologies come out, it's for the youngest generations, or at least the youngest working generations. They're the ones that really benefit from it. And I was that youngest generation when PCs showed up on desktops. And I remember people going, oh, we're never going to use that. I like my typewriter. I like my adding machine. And over time, we saw that those jobs didn't disappear, but individuals who didn't embrace the PC and word processors and spreadsheets, they were displaced because people that embraced those started doing their job better.
Yeah.
And I,
I'm
I
I'm
think,
I'm the same age as you, and I grew up with computers, and
yeah,
I remember in high school I took a computer programming class,
mm-hmm,
and these big hernia busting machines, these trash 80s, which we
oh,
called Professor
yes,
80s.
yes,
That's what we
yes,
learned to code on, and people are like, "What the hell is that?" And
mm-hmm,
I started taking this coding to when I went to Penn State and learned how to. I didn't finish Penn State, but I was there. I was teaching other
yep.
kids how to code, and we were the generation with video games with started this artificial intelligence. And what I tell people is like, I've been doing artificial intelligence for years, and they're like, well, it only came out recently. I said, look, AI stands for Anspach intelligence, and they're like, it's not even right, Rob. It's like, but I've been doing this. I've been a full time entrepreneur for 30 years,
Yeah,
and I have seen things come and go. Um, but my kids are the result of all these computers now. They don't
yeah,
know a world before computers. They're
exactly.
integrated. But even though I have a love for computers and AI and storytelling and all this other stuff, what I hate is AI being integrated in everything that we do.
Mm.
Gmail
You,
now has it
it's yeah,
on email, and I'm
everybody.
like
Yeah,
trying to type something, and then it wants to try to reshuffle my words, and I'm like, this is annoying. Turn it off.
yes, it is. Yes, it is. Absolutely.
And Siri, all the new phones now coming out for Apple, all integrated with AI, and it's like it's trying to force us to allow that program to think for us. And I don't want the tool to become better than the person. So AI is just a tool. We have to use it properly, program it properly. It's not to replace us. It's supposed to assist us.
And I couldn't agree more. I think, as people talk about that and they're worried about it, I do think that AI is going to displace some workers, just like the PC did, just like the internet did, just like the internal combustion engine did, just like the fax machine did.
Right.
All of these things are going to impact us. But the
Excuse
people the people they're going to displace are going to be the people that don't embrace the technologies. And I think the key is to understand that it's up to us to allow AI to do what it can do. And if we use it and still want to stay active, because I believe, and I'm guessing you do too, Rob, AI is most effective when we collaborate with it as opposed to handing off tasks to it. That
me.
doesn't mean it can't handle some rudimentary stuff. My AI tells me every day about some of the things that I want it to update me on, various searches and things like that. And so that's good. It's, very candidly things I wouldn't normally do, but I like to have.
Hmm.
But when I'm writing a new course, when I'm writing, I used it this morning, I use it all the time to help me write emails better.
Hmm.
I had an email from a client, nothing bad. In fact, I had a training and they won an award. And I was trying to write that well, but my brain was a little foggy. It was first thing this morning. So I took my email and I fed it back into ChatGPT, which, like you, I've trained on my voice and my tone and my style. So it knows that. And I said, please help me improve this and make this read better, make it more readable. And,
Hmm.
in literally about 3 seconds, maybe four, but certainly less than five, I had a much better written email that I was able to copy and paste. And yes, I do take a quick look at it and make sure that it's what I want. But the key there is I collaborated with it. I gave it my initial kind of outline, my draft, which admittedly was not polished. I
Hmm.
had it do the spit and polish, and then I used it. That would have normally taken me 15 minutes or so to have gone through that. My phone might have rang 4 times in the process, 3 messages pop up. Might have taken me an hour to get done.
Hmm.
With AI, it was all done in under 2 minutes. And it was done well because, like you said, I've trained it just like you have
Hmm.
on who Jonathan is, on who my company, Whitebeard Strategies, is. And so everything was aligned as it should be, in the right tone, in the right style,
Hmm.
saying the right words. But it said it better than I did because it has that ability to do so and do so very quickly.
And what I've discovered is as I got older, I pause a little bit more to come up
Oh,
with
yes.
words. Sometimes I stutter. And so when I'm taking the transcripts of these videos, I want the AI to remove my pauses, to remove my stuttering. And it does. It just and
Hmm.
very quickly. And it's like, okay, wow, I didn't have to transcribe that. Now it sounds better. And people can still watch the video and watch me make mistakes. But if they read the transcript, there's no mistakes. It's just flip
Oh, yeah.
credit.
Well, one of my favorite uses is recall. Like I mentioned, I do have ADD, and so I can't always remember things well. And a good example I did this morning. I was doing a training on Friday, and my assistant had a great idea. I wear hats, just like I have on right now. And she said, Jonathan, you always wear hats. You know what would be fun to do in your training to get some more engagement? What about if you had people tell you what was on your hat? Because I have probably 100 different hats. I'm kind of have a problem. I like to collect baseball caps. And she said, what if you do that and you give them maybe a free pass to the next training you do? And I'm like, oh, I love that idea. So we did it kind of radio style. I told everybody somewhere in the next 2 hours of this training, I'm going to ask you what's on my hat. Don't tell me now. I want you to put it in the chat because it was via Zoom. And when I announce it, I'm going to announce a number. That'll be that person that gets it right. And so we were talking, and then partway through, I said, all right. And I couldn't remember what I said. I ended up saying it was the 13th person. That's the 13th person. Do it now. Boom. Normally, a couple things would have happened because that was Friday. This is Monday morning. And I remembered, oh, I got to deal with that. I took the transcript, I uploaded it into ChatGPT, and I said, I talked about giving away a free pass, but I don't remember which person I said it was going to be. Literally, almost that fast, even on a 2 hour transcript, it came back and said, yes, at minute 9:05, you indicated that the 13th person would win a free pass. Great. Here's a copy of the Zoom chat log. Go through and look who was the 13th person. And
Mhm.
again, almost that fast, it came back and said it was Cheryl. I won't say her last name. Cheryl's the person it was. I did a quick spot check and counted. Boom, boom, boom. Yep, it's right.
Hmm.
That entire process, which would have easily taken me 30 minutes to figure out because I had forgotten what I'd said, was done in under 5 minutes.
Hmm.
And now it's off my plate. It's taken care of. Now I could have given it to my assistant, absolutely, but it would have taken her 30 or 40 minutes. And so not only do I use it, but my assistant also uses those things now because it helps them get so much more done so much faster.
Hmm. Yeah, and now they're training these programs. I mean, ChatGPT. I can feed it in a URL. It used to not be able to scan URLs, but now it can.
Yes.
And I say, okay, give me the highlights of this URL, and within 2 seconds, okay, great. Or I'll say, you know, I get, because I've written a lot of books on scams. I get hundreds and hundreds of emails a day on scams, and some of them
Hmm.
look really legit. And
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
feed it into the ChatGPT. I said, "Is this legit?" And they're like, "Nope." And it's like instant. And so if people would just use it, they would understand how it can make their life better. I mean, like you, um, I'll get up in the morning and I'll hyper focus for about 2 hours, and I'll get so much stuff done. And people are like, "Well, Rob, you're a machine." I've produced all these books and blog articles, and I did them all without AI. And I'm like, well, what if I used AI? How much more work could I get done?
Yes.
And I can essentially replace. I don't really want to say replace people. Uh,
No, but you can leverage your skill and
yeah.
experience again. You can do things that are faster. In the time that it would have taken me this morning to explain to my assistant what needed to happen regarding Friday's training, I was actually able to have it done. And then all I did is I said, "Hey, can you email Cheryl? She won a free pass. Go create the coupon, send it to her, and take care of that." And she did that for me, which that's part of what she does. So
Hmm.
she's not in any danger of losing her job as my assistant because of AI, but we are as a team getting more done in less time. And what's exciting to me, Rob, you can relate because you're in the space, but we're able to provide more value. So it's not just about saving time. We're able to provide more value to our audience as a result of that as well.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I shared with you, coming in, I've got an audience of about 500,000 people that I talk to on a daily basis.
Wow.
And when we talk about I can now deliver so much more value to them because we can leverage AI tools to help us deliver some of the things they ask for, whether that's a new prompt on how to do that, whether it's probably one of the most common is I'm stuck. I'm not sure which steps to follow in order to do this with AI.
Hmm.
Well, the beautiful thing is I can go into ChatGPT and say, give me a step-by-step SOP in order to accomplish this task. And again, almost that fast, a couple seconds. It's maybe a little bit slower because ChatGPT servers are a little slow right now, but a few seconds, and I've got a better SOP than I could have created in an hour.
Yeah.
And
And here's
and
the thing: is I know a lot of businesses will have standard operating procedures. SOP.
sure,
And most small businesses don't.
right,
So
you're absolutely
when
right.
I interview them, and these are small businesses that, well, you could be a mom and pop, you could be a brick and mortar, you could be a business that's been open for 20 years. You're just a small business. You don't have an SOP. Why not? Okay.
Hmm.
AI is so simple. Look, input all your information, what you do, how you do, and it'll kick out an SOP that you can use. You might have to change a few things, but there it is in front of you in black and white. And now you can say, wow, I have an SOP. If I hire people, they can come in, see exactly what's supposed to be done.
Hmm.
And here's a scenario. My father-in-law, he passed away a year and a half ago, but he was a self-employed carpenter. And in the 70s, he actually fell off the roof, broke his back,
Ooh.
had to dismiss his employees, and his business was basically non-existent for a year and a half until he healed. When he started the business back up, he didn't want to hire employees. He wanted to do everything by himself because it was just too painful to fire people. But here's the
Absolutely.
problem: we didn't have AI back then. But had he had an SOP, He could have told his employees exactly how to do the jobs, how to do everything,
Yes,
and he could be there healing and not worry about it. And
exactly.
that's the beauty of SOPs. If
Could
something
not agree
happens
with
to
you
you,
more.
you just bring someone in, they follow the step-by-step instructions, and now you're running a business and you don't even need to be there.
Well, one of the things I love about AI in that context, Rob, is, as you said, most small businesses don't have the number of SOPs that they should. And a lot of times it's because they're really not sure where to get started. But the
Right.
beauty is now I can literally grab my phone and I can open up ChatGPT and not even using the voice feature, just using the transcribe feature on my phone. I can say, all right, I'm going to give you the following steps that I do when I go to a roofing job and what we do. And so here it is. I park my car out of the way to make sure it's not in the way of the people there. I make sure that if the homeowner's there, I go knock on the door and I say, hey, we're here. We're going to be working on your house. We're going to be making some noise. If you need anything, here's how to get in touch with me, or here's what to say. I make sure that we have the dumpster close enough to the house so when we take the shingles off, that they don't all go on the lawn, they go in the dumpster. Then I come up and I do a survey of the roof, and we could go on and on. All I have to do is say that, list out, okay, this is what I do, and then say, now, would you create a step-by-step SOP that I can give to my team in order to do this when they arrive on site? And literally within a few minutes, that entire SOP can be done. And the benefit here, if you're a business owner, you're going, Jonathan, Rob, I don't want to do this.
Mhm.
The level of service that you're going to be able to deliver to your clients as a result of that will catapult you ahead of your competition.
Mhm.
It's some of the best marketing you can do, because why is McDonald's exist? Not because they have good food,
Yeah.
because they don't. Okay, their fries aren't bad. But other than that, it's because of consistency.
Mhm.
Because it doesn't matter whether I'm in Alabama, where I'm at today, whether I'm in California, where I was last week, or if I'm in Mexico, where I was a month ago. When I go to order it, I get the same ho hum food that tastes exactly the same way. And we as humans like consistency. We like to know what we can expect. And I don't think there's a small business person listening that wants to deliver all home service. So
Right.
now, if you take your level of service and you put an SOP behind it, rocket fuel.
Yeah. And here's the thing is that most everybody has a phone. Most
Hmm.
everybody on the phone has voice notes or some type of text notes. And I always tell my clients, look, you know, AI can do a lot of great things behind the scenes. And it can even make videos nowadays.
Yes, it can.
And so if you don't want to make videos, make a list of all the frequently asked questions that people have ever asked you. Or if you don't remember what they asked you, ask ChatGPT, what are the common questions in this industry? And
Exactly.
then have it create videos answering those questions. You throw it on YouTube, put it on Facebook, wherever you want to put it. And now you have a 24/7 salesperson answering all these questions. And people go and search, oh, wow. Yeah, that's a great attorney or plumber or electrician in my area. Bam, done.
Exactly.
Look, it's marketing is hard. I understand that. I help people with their marketing all day long, but it doesn't have to be. There are so many
Yes.
tools out there that can facilitate. And I'm not saying, hey, do this and not hire Rob. You still need somebody to help you guide through all these things and what you're missing and be happy. I'll be happy to do the consultation call with you. But a lot of this stuff, the AI can handle very quickly.
Well, and let me address that even on the marketing side. Like you, I come from a marketing background, and I see the value that AI can bring there. But Rob, the value that you can bring when it amplifies your skill and experience, as opposed to, let's say, I'm Joe Chiropractor doing chiropractic. As a marketer, AI can amplify your marketing skill to deliver a far better product. Just like if I were a chiropractor, you using it to become a chiropractor wouldn't probably work out so well. And so we have to remember, no matter what we're doing, that AI helps amplify the skill and experience we have. It doesn't negate the need for professionals,
Mhm.
but it may mean those professionals can deliver us more value You
Right.
talked about attorneys. I still have an attorney. I haven't got rid of my attorney. But when we do new contracts now, I often send him a version that ChatGPT created and I say, can you review this and update? And
Hmm.
as a result, it's probably cut those contract reviews from a cost perspective by 50 to 60% on what I used to have to pay.
Yeah.
My attorney's not upset because it saved them a lot of time and energy as well. And everybody wins in the process. But I didn't get rid of my attorney because there's always things that they're finding that ChatGPT maybe didn't understand about my state or my issue or whatever. So we all win, but we're
Hmm.
amplifying that skill and experience because, again, I'm not an attorney, so I can pretend to be one with ChatGPT,
Hmm.
or I can let my attorney use it and get rocket fuel.
Yeah. And I think one of the big misconceptions, and I'm not saying that it it is or isn't. Um, People say, "Well, my book was used to train the model." You know what? I've produced 55 books, and in the last probably 6 months, I fed all my books into ChatGPT
Mm-hmm.
to get a better idea of, you know, can we do a sequel? Can we do this? Can we do that? And a lot of times, it doesn't know. So
Right, exactly.
it's learning or reading that book for the very first time. So
Yes.
maybe it did go through and maybe it did copy something, or but it is trained in such a way that the information that's being spit out is unique to you.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you train it in such a way that says, hey, Rob Anspach is sarcastic, he's slightly ADD, he likes to hyper focus, he does this, 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 it's going to spit out content that is modeled after you. Now, if you say,
Exactly.
well, I want it to be, I want it to sound like Dan Kennedy, and I want you to write this emotional direct response marketing piece, it may or may not kick out because you haven't really modeled it. It's going to pull from a model that it thinks is Dan Kennedy.
Correct.
What I like to do is if I have videos, if I have information somewhere stored on a subject, I'll feed that video in there and I'll say, look, I need it to sound like this person,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then oh, very close. I would say
Right.
95%.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. No, and again, that's goes back to that training and sharing. I always try to explain to people AI has essentially been trained on every book in every library and across the world. That's great, except that also means that if you've ever been to a library, Rob, you know that you've got different books that on the same topic that disagree with what's been said, and nobody's told AI which of those is correct
Right.
or which one it likes. So if you ask it a general question, it's going to be pulling from disparate types of information, and
Mhm.
it's not designed to tell you which is right. And it isn't really intelligent when we think about it. It's not analyzing it and then comparing it. I mean, we're maybe getting closer, but it's not there where it's going to be able to discern which of those is most accurate based on your perspective.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, it's a tool. And I
And
think that's
and
what I
as
encourage people to understand.
as entrepreneurs evolve, our thinking becomes different.
Oh yeah,
Our thinking evolves too. So what I wrote about 10, 15 years ago may be different than my perspective today. So
yes,
pulling
one hundred
models
percent.
from dated information, you're gonna get a dated reply.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, the trick is sometimes is to go in and tell the model, hey, this is the information I'm looking for, but it needs to be current to the situation today, and don't pull it from, you know, a model that you're, from a couple years ago because it may not work. I remember when ChatGPT came out, it said it was current up until what 2021 or something like that. So it didn't have. There was like a 2-year gap. It didn't have information on. So you're
Yep.
pulling this information and it's incomplete. So within a 6-month period that was corrected, and now it's more up to date, and even now it's faster than before, and probably tomorrow it'll be faster again. But like you said, people are they're falling victim to the shiny object syndrome, and they're like, "Well, ChatGPT is too hard. I want to go to Grok. I want to go over here. I want," and I see all these different people complaining that the AI is not spitting out what they want. It's like, just take the time to train it. But
Well, and again, I think it's something you kind of referred to earlier. Our first interaction with AI tends to be write me a story, write me a blog post, create a social media post, something that write me an email, but we don't give it any context. And Rob, it'd be like if I was going to work with you on a marketing campaign and I said, Rob, I want you to help me market one of my courses.
mhm,
And I hopped on a Zoom call with you and I'm like, Rob, help me market one of my courses. And I stopped. I
yeah,
didn't give you any more information. I didn't tell you what the course was about, who it was for, what it was going to do, how it was going to make their lives better. I didn't even tell you who I was or anything else because we never met.
yeah,
You're brilliant at marketing, so you're going to be able to put together an amazing campaign, but not without that information.
right. And
And if you have to assume stuff, we know what happens.
mhm,
Whatever you produce is going to resemble the southbound end of a northbound mule because you don't have the relevant information. So people do that. They try AI and they're like, well, that didn't work. It was kind of dumb. Okay.
well, it's like people will ask me, "Hey, can you give me a price on writing a book?" Yeah, sure, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like, what other information? What kind of book? You know, is it going to be a 6x9 format? Is it going to be this, this, this? And I'll list all these things, and they're like, well, we don't know. Well, how much time am I going to take to edit this book? Is it done? Am I going to have to ghostwrite it for you? We don't know. Well, there's a lot of
Yes.
variables there. So, I can give you a high price, and that's probably going to scare you to hell away, and I'll never see you.
Yes.
And
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
it's those are the things I think people they're like, well, what's it cost? I don't know.
Well, it's like build me a house. Go to a contractor. Build me a house. How much is it going to cost? Well, hang on. We have a lot of questions we need to ask first.
Mhm. And here's the thing is that and maybe I need a form on my website. You know, answer all these questions, and then I just give it to AI. You figure it out, spit it back out. Oh, there's Rob's price based on the
Hmm.
information that we need to make ourselves as entrepreneurs the conductor of
I
our
love that. Yes, same. I
orchestra.
just used that this morning.
You know,
It's like you have an orchestra.
yeah,
The AI is your orchestra, but if without the conductor, the orchestra is nothing.
right. And my whole goal over the last probably 15 years is to simplify my life.
Hmm.
And yes, I write books, and yes, I write blogs and do all this stuff, but my whole goal in life is to reduce the amount of hours I actually work every single day.
Hmm.
So I get up in the morning, I work 2, 3 hours, I go take a break, I go do something else, I go have fun. My wife and I go out to eat or do what. I come back, I might work an hour, then I'm done. People are
Hmm.
like, well, Rob, how do you run a company with 4 hours a day? SOPs,
Purposefully.
and now AI is going to make it even better. So as I get older, it's like I'm prepping myself for retirement. Now I'll never retire because I'm an entrepreneur and that's what we do. We will just fade away somewhere.
Yep, I absolutely. You and I are in
But,
the same boat there, 100%.
it's not that I don't like work. It's just I want to maximize my day so that I'm making more money in less amount of time. And people are like, "Well, don't you charge by the hour?" I haven't charged by the hour in 30 years. It's always by the project. So if I get that project done quick, I'm making
Well,
money.
and that's how every business should try to do it because you and I both know when it's by the project, the client then doesn't worry about time. They've
Right.
already committed to spend the money. They want it done as fast as possible.
Mhm.
And when it's by the hour, even if you tell them it's going to take 10 hours to do it, at 5 hours, if they don't think you've got enough done, then they're like, well, hang on. I mean, we got to recalculate. We got to talk about this. Definitely not worth it. That's a whole nother podcast, but definitely not worth the hourly model.
So how do people find you? Where do they go?
And just remember my name, Jonathan Mast, M-A-S-T. They go to jonathanmast.com. They put /Linktree on the end of it. They'll get all my contact information. I've got a ton of free resources on AI, a few paid ones too, but most of it's all free. Just go and check it all out.
And then your website is whitebeardstrategies.com. And
Correct.
what can they get there?
Again, mainly it's most of our business, Rob, is focused on coaching. We try to teach people how to leverage AI in their lives and in their business and with their teams with three goals. One, save time. Two, help improve your profits, because when we save time, we can help improve those profits. And third, add more value, because probably the first time in my life that I'm aware of, we've been able to do all of those at the same time. We can save time, we can increase profits, and deliver more value to our clients all at the same time. And I love it when we get win-win situations like that.
That is awesome. So everybody, if you're listening, which I hope we didn't bore you to death, but go over and visit Jonathan on socials and engage with him on his website. Learn more about AI. And I was one of those people that was resistant at first. I really was. And I'm like, is it going to take away my job? Is it going to, are my clients going to be, oh, we just need to do, go over the, none of that ever happened, you know? And so the more I embraced it, the more I felt that, I was getting more done in the day. And I was, you know, getting, meeting that goal of simplifying my life.
Hmm.
So, it's not that, it's not all those scare things that people think it's going to be. It's not the end of the world. It's not Terminator. It's not none of that crap. So, embrace it the way you want, but in the same respect, teach it more about who you are. And you're going to find that it's going to print out answers that reflect you. It's going to give you SOPs. It's going to give you contracts. It's going to give you all kinds of stuff that make your life easier. So, with that, we'll see you on the next episode. Adios.